Big changes coming to the Marine Corps, where Marines that are males traditionally finally figure out there's actually another gender on this entire planet. They're called women. I'm kidding. We're being dramatic. But to be honest with you guys, the Marine Corps is one of the longest standing traditions of a male-dominated community in general, with about 10% amount of females that are actually among the ranks of Marines. And we're looking at a branch that's about 150,000 deep. So imagine that's not many females. But big changes are coming to the boot camp. Just so you guys know, since the opening of the Marine Corps Recruit Depot in 1921, they're looking at some of the first integrated platoons that are going to have male and females amongst the ranks from the beginning of initial training. Now, traditionally, this has been noted that it was only done down in South Carolina over at Parris Island. As many of you guys know, that there's a battle between the East and the West, where literally the Mississippi usually divides where someone may go to boot camp. And there's always been this nice sibling rivalry amongst the East and West, whereas the females have never had this opportunity to be on the West Coast because they've always been directed over to the East Coast. And that is requiring that the Marine Corps is going to establish this within the next 5 years. To be fair, they've dabbled with trying to mix this before, trying to look at different ways. They've been told even previously back in 2016 that they should have integrated this even sooner. And we're now in 2021, so let's just drag our feet a little bit more. Let's dive into more details about this, because there's a lot more you guys are probably not understanding before you go to the keyboards and say,
"Oh my God, Nicky, we can't allow this. Marines can never allow females. They would never meet the standard."
But I promise you there's more information. Stay. I promise you. I was naive like you. I thought the same thing. But there's actually been a push that has not been very loud or vocal, or has not been published to many people. Is they are still going to have the drill instructor that matches the same gender as the people that they're training. I have no idea how that's going to be affected with the whole trans thing that's coming about. Do not ask that, because that's not being detailed. Person spearheading this is Jackie Spire, as one of those committee members, that says, "Fully integrating women is not only the right thing to do, it makes our military stronger," she said. "The women Marines serving in recently opened combat positions that I have met are immeasurably brave, tough, and inspiring. Each of them have had to prove themselves over and over again to male peers and superiors." And I'll tell you, I do have female friends that are in the Marine Corps that do say that they feel like they are almost treated secondhand citizens a lot of times, and that they have to prove themselves. Even on their best day, they're still not seen as good as the male counterparts that could be mediocre. But looking into this, I can tell you that that's not what women want. They don't want to be treated as second-class citizens. And that voice has been known from this lieutenant colonel that is now retired as she's relieved from her position. And that is Lieutenant Colonel Kate Germano. She was one of the leaders over at 4th Battalion for the female side of recruit training, where she was actually pushing to ensure that females received better training and were being pushed to meet the standards of their peers. And during this time, she said that the commanding officer was blocking all of her requests in order to do this, and that because of this, they had pretty much purposely outed her from the community and have had her fired from her position, saying that she was a toxic leader. I did want to add to this that there is also a full article from Task and Purpose which outlines some of the speculation from a JAG officer point of view that was under her command that dealt with some of this toxic leadership and why she was unable to actually make these changes occur. I did not want to detract from her original message, but there are some reasons why you could see that she was probably not going to accomplish this. Even on her official website, where she still continues to have this mission to push for same training and standards for female Marines, she says this: "The Marine Corps continues to be the only service where men and women train separately in boot camp or basic training. This segregation negatively affects interaction with male Marines later on, and lower expectations of female recruits are actively maintained and encouraged." But Lieutenant Colonel Kate Germano arrived at the 4th Recruit Training Battalion at Parris Island, which exclusively trains female recruits. Convinced that if she expected more of the women just coming into the Corps, she could raise historically low standards for female performance and make women better Marines. And after 1 year, shooting qualifications of the women under her command equaled those of men, injuries had decreased, and unit morale had noticeably improved. Then the Marines fired her. Now, I do not know the specifics of her claims of if she did have better outcomes by trying to expect more of the female recruits, but this is to show some of you people like me that were naive to say, like, maybe females don't want to be treated differently. What we all want is the same thing, and that is equal treatment for everybody, ensuring the same quality of warfighter. And how can we do that in the most effective way with our tax dollars? Like, those are the three things we care about. I know a lot of you guys are on the side of the fence or saying women could never be at that standard. But as much as you say that, you as the peer that could be training alongside a female, whether it's boot camp, school of infantry, MCT, whatever training it is not only the instructor that's required or the commanding officer of that training command that's required to uphold that standard. It's every single peer. If someone sucks, you call it out. Me, as somebody that's not even a Marine that gets to serve, luckily, alongside Marines as a Navy corpsman, I would hope that a Marine would say, hey, Doc, you're not pulling your weight. Hey, Doc, you need to do this or that. Hey, Doc, this is how you actually do that. Hey, Doc, how about you fucking help me? That's what I would hope is actually going to happen here. But we look at these macro level things of how can we say no as much as possible, but it starts with the smallest person to push these. And that comes from the ground up, from basic training, school of infantry, every single step of the way. The reason why a lot of Marines don't take female Marines seriously is because they're segregated. I don't know if they went through the same thing as me. Can I trust that person if they have a totally different gender or whatever else? I know that's kind of barbaric thinking for people not in the military, but I get it because we're talking about warfighters. We're talking about aggression. We're talking about the need to eliminate an enemy. I understand that. But if they can have even the anecdotal evidence of watching female recruits and Marines, going through the progress and seeing that they can actually perform it and having their own stories of seeing women that can kill it, it might change some of the perception. But as long as we continue to segregate this, we can't breed that or try and make them equal. We have to be able to apply that pressure, and that's what it has to be. And I'm not saying this to push the agenda of we need quotas of how many females should be and all that. Forget that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that person that that has the integrity, has the strength, has the physical fortitude, everything else that can be a Marine and embody that and truly do it, I want that person to have the opportunity to at least do it. But if we're going to continue the whole perspective of none of them can do it in this broad stroke, I think that's where we negatively affect everyone. And yes, I do agree the military is not the place for people to come and we adapt to them. Obviously, we have standards that have to be met, but I think it's easier to establish that from the start over at boot camp and knowing what the limits are. But this gets to the part of the video where I ask you guys, what do you guys think about this? Because obviously, like I told you guys, I didn't know this other voice was out here fighting for women to have to meet the right standards and the same standards as men and also receive the right training as well to be as competitive and as lethal as they are. As always, please leave those comments down below. And if you guys do want to help support us, we do have a Patreon link down below where you can become a patron over there and help support the channel. And some perks. Also, on top of that, we do have a YouTube membership here where you can click the join button down below this video and help us out here and get some perks over here as well. But as always, if you guys do have questions about this or anything else, you can hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys.